Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and get started. My name is Malia Blake. I work in Congressman Jamal Bowman's office. So for those of you who are tuning in or joining us on social media, thank you for tuning in to our wellness webinar. This is the first one that we're doing, the first of its kind. But I'll go ahead to turn it over. I'll turn it over to the Congressman now so that he can start us off.
Yes, thank you so much, Malia. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in and joining us. I'm hearing a bit of feedback, so if someone has a mic on, please just be sure to mute your microphones. But thank you so much, Malia, and thank you, everyone, for being here. You know, health is wealth, and wellness is a key aspect to our lives, our daily lives, the lives of our family members, our friends, and our communities. And as a result of what we've all been going through over the last year, a focus on wellness is going to be critical moving forward. It's my pleasure to partner with you all in bringing this conversation to bear and allow this, please allow this to be the first of many conversations as we go forward. COVID has revealed a tremendous trauma in our communities. It's made the trauma that was already there worse, unfortunately, but people have been struggling for quite a long time. You know, as long as we have inequality in our country, and as long as we allow certain communities to continue to be neglected and repressed, we're going to have challenges related to both mental and physical well-being. And it is our job as elected officials to partner with amazing organizations like NAMI to bring us to this point where we can have conversations and share the resources that are available. So, you know, for me as an educator of 20 years, you know, I've seen firsthand, you know, how our communities and our schools are under-resourced in terms of meeting the complex needs of our students and our families. You know, I mentioned mental health, but also those who are differently abled have also been sort of marginalized and neglected. But now it's time to pivot towards solutions that are holistic, solutions that uplift the well-being of everyone, and solutions that take collaborative efforts to respond to. So I will get out the way and let the webinar begin. Once again, thank you, NAMI, for your partnership, and let's dive right in. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Congressman. So now we're going to turn it over to Michael Orth, who's joining us from the Westchester Department of Community Mental Health.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. And I want to thank Congressman Bowen for his leadership and support regarding mental health and community matters, his team for pulling this forum together, and also acknowledge our fellow presenters for their leadership in this work. And most of all of you for joining us on this important topic. Just briefly, our department, the Department of Community Mental Health in Westchester County, is a branch of county government that has responsibility for the mental health, substance misuse, and developmental disability system. And we do this with other partners, including school districts, organizations like NAMI, social services, but most importantly with community and advocates as well. And I always like to begin presentations with this quote by Dr. Chisholm, who's the first director of the World Health Organization, who once said, "Without mental health, there can be no true physical health." There is no way of separating our mental health with our physical health. And we all know that our physical health is impacted by our mental health issues and our mental wellness. So we often hear about the term primary health. I don't like that term. I don't know which is primary. Clearly, both our mental health and physical health are just as important. But when we look at the data, as the Congressman mentioned, we do recognize that even before the pandemic, we were experiencing a behavioral health crisis. And as many of the physical health, and this is a positive sign, cancer went down over the years, other areas, traffic accidents and fatalities have gone down. unfortunately, our behavioral health issues and deaths have gone up. And that includes substance misuse, overdose, alcohol abuse, as well as suicide. So in 1999, the fatality from behavioral health issues was at about 65,000 people as a nation. By 2018, we had 152 fatalities because of those behavioral health issues. So why are we doing better in other health issues and not mental health? I think Congressman clearly articulated some of the challenges of trauma, racial trauma, inequities of access to healthcare services, the stigma. When you look at almost every street corner now, we have urgent care centers, but do we have mental health urgent care centers for those who can easily access mental health services? On the positive side, as a nation, as you can see, the other report, Dr. David Satcher, who was a Surgeon General, was the first to present a report recognizing mental health as a priority and as a health issue. And with any disease, there's ways of prevention, early intervention, and also that there's evidence-based practices that can support the work we do. So that's really important. To look at some of the data, I want to look at the optimistic side of this data, that we all know that by the age of 14, most lifetime mental health disorders are diagnosed. So there's so much we can do in prevention, in early childhood mental health, in our school-based services, that we know that there's a greater chance of supporting individuals with mental health issues if we provide those services earlier on. And I think one of the things about mental health, there's this thing that it's us and those people. And clearly, we all have mental health and we all strive for mental wellness. So we have to look at prevention, we have to look at awareness, and also services that are easily accessible as well. And we also recognize one of the important things on the screen is co-occurring disorders, that many people who have mental health issues often struggle with substance use. And if you do have a substance use issue, it can lead to other mental health issues. So we want to make sure as a service system that we're really treating both mental health and substance misuse, because we know how prevalent they are. This is the slide I really want to focus on. And as the Congressman said, there are services out there. And I think it's important to recognize that there are different ways of getting support. There's no one right way of getting support. And when we look at the different racial, linguistic, community competent, culturally competent services, we want to make sure that we're including all the possibilities. So especially during the pandemic, we really promoted mindfulness, spirituality, a sense, especially through something as traumatic as trauma, that people are feeling safe, connected, and also that they're connecting to other services and helping them to self-regulate and cope, whatever that means for you. We also want to promote sleep, nutrition, exercise. That's all part of a holistic opportunity to achieve mental wellness. And we also have recognized the importance of social connections, the value of sharing with others who have lived experience, who have been through similar issues, and that peer family support movement is so critical. And we'll hear more about that from our leader in Westchester of NAMI Westchester. And finally, of course, there's mental health treatment, and there's different forms, including individual treatment, family treatment, group, and of course, medication as well. So what we really try to promote is a comprehensive approach to our mental wellness. And that includes all of us. We all need to really practice some of these important features. In parting, I wanted to share some resources from Westchester County, and many of these services are also universal in the tri-state area. So in Westchester, at the early start of the pandemic, we have an emotional wellness line that anyone can call. The number is 914-995-1900. We also get calls from New York City. We link them to the services we know in the city or Connecticut or other surrounding areas. And it's really to access educational information, resources, but also connect to services, whether it's outpatient treatment, peer services, and of course, NAMI Westchester as well. In Westchester, we have a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week crisis prevention response team that's through St. Vincent's Hospital, and the number is 914-925-5959, and they're able to provide immediate crisis response to any behavioral health issues. And whether it's connecting you, whether it's coming out to doing an assessment, or just talking to someone on the phone for support. I've also left our county mental health number, 914-995-5220. In Westchester, we are fortunate. We have multiple services in various communities that include peer, outpatient, and other types of services. I do want to close by sharing that part of accessing mental health services is reaching people where they're at. And we know that outpatient services or telephonic services are extremely valuable in engaging some people. Some of the things that we're proud of in Westchester is we work closely with our school districts, working with our partners at BOCES to create school-based mental health satellite clinics to go where the students are at. We've really promoted multi-tier approaches that we can address the mental wellness of all students, including those who may be struggling with mental health. And we've also recently embarked on a faith-based initiative called Soul Shop, where we're actually engaging over 100 faith-based leaders from all denominations to promote, support the mental health, not only of faith-based leaders, but their congregations and their houses of worship. Again, we see mental health as a universal responsibility where we all have a responsibility to support each other's mental health, but also be educated and aware so we can support and link people who may need services. And perhaps one of our strongest partners in Westchester County, and it's part of a national organization, is NAMI Westchester. And it's my pleasure to welcome and introduce Marie, who will talk more about the NAMI services.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Commissioner. It's my pleasure to be here today, and thank you, Congressman, for hosting today, and for Malia for putting it together. So my name is Marie Considine. I'm with NAMI Westchester. NAMI is the National Alliance on Mental Illness, and I will share my screen so I can go through some points with you today. Okay, there we go. So what NAMI does is provide support, education, resources, and advocacy. And as you can see here, most importantly, hope. We run a helpline, and when people call us, they really need help in all types of directions. So we talk to them and give them empathy, let them know that we've been there and we've gone through what they've gone through, and provide all different kinds of resources. Not just mental health, but any kind of help that they need in the county. Because as the commissioner mentioned, there is no health. There is no health without mental health. It's all interrelated. You can't really separate it. So that is really at the core of our mission. So NAMI is the national organization, is the National Alliance on Mental Illness. There's a state organization. We are the local affiliate. There are hundreds of affiliates across the country. So if you participate in a program that NAMI Westchester runs, and you move somewhere else, you can continue your participation in the program somewhere else in the country. These are evidence-based programs that have been proven to help people and save lives. So NAMI was founded to help family members help their loved one, but we also provide direct services to people who are living with mental health diagnoses. This is our contact information, just so that you have that. We have a helpline that's from 9 to 2, Monday through Friday. And our website is very thorough. We just relaunched it in January, and it's just chock full of information. You could spend hours poking through it, but if you have a specific question, just call us. We work very closely with the county and many organizations within Westchester. This is just a few of them. I don't know why it keeps jumping forward. But we work with many organizations. When we get a call on our helpline, like I said, people ask all different questions. They may have a question about housing, or a family member who's in crisis, or maybe it's someone who's living with a mental health diagnosis who has a question. Is there a program for me? Can I go somewhere? Can I get some support? Are there other people like me? And the answer is yes to all of it. So if we don't have a program, we refer out to all these organizations and many more. One of the things that we really try to drive home in our program that we run for young people is how to help a friend. So we really help them identify warning signs of a mental health condition. And that's become so much more important. It's always been important forever, but in the past year, when young people have just been learning, like we're talking today over Zoom, maybe seeing each other's faces, maybe not, but not in person, not having that connection, noticing when somebody's eye contact changes, or maybe they're not as attentive as they normally are, or they turn their screen off. Whatever it is, there are certain things to look for in terms of, is it normal behavior, normal teenage behavior, adolescents who might be pulling away a little from their parents, versus when is it really a concern. So the presentation that we run called Ending the Silence really addresses the point that the commissioner made, that 50% of all lifetime disorders begin by the age 14. So the earlier that's caught, the earlier the person can get the help that they need. So part of it is educating the young people in terms of these warning signs, looking out for themselves in themselves, and also looking out for them in a friend, but also educating parents and the greater community, because it's a domino effect. So if someone knows these warning signs, then you pick up on it as you go through your day. But then part two of that conversation is, what do you do? So you notice a warning sign, and what do you do about it? This here tells young people, start the conversation. Ask them, are you okay? Do you need some help? And then what if they say yes? Know what to do. You need to know how to identify a trusted adult, to know some resources. You don't need to know all the phone numbers and all of the contacts out there, but you need to know that we're here, that the county is here, that there are phone numbers available. There is somebody at the other end of the line. The commissioner also shared the number for the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline, which will be going to a 3-digit number within the next year, which is great. And there's also a suicide prevention text line, since so many young people would prefer to text than to talk. That's 741-741. And we just say text NAMI to that number, and you'll start a conversation. There will be someone available to answer that 24 hours a day. I just thought I'd mention a few of the support groups that we run. In the past year, they've been offered on Zoom, and they are for the foreseeable future. And even when we go back to in person, we will probably do a combo or a hybrid because people are enjoying the fact that they can participate, either just taking a break in the middle of their work day, work night, it depends on the timing. Maybe they don't have to worry about commuting. So that's something that will probably continue. Going forward, we have groups for people who are living in recovery with mental health diagnosis, and for families and friends, so that they can learn how to support their loved one, but also do some self-care too, which is really important. We do have some education programs. These are 8-week programs, and these two programs are very similar in that one is for the family member and one is for the person living in recovery with a mental illness. So if you have any questions about those, instead of me going into detail now, you're welcome to call us. We have a family-to-family program going on now that's just about to end. We take a hiatus for the summer. We're starting up again in September. So we're recruiting for that program now, and that will be over Zoom. And then peer-to-peer is starting up June 26th. We're doing that in partnership with another NAMI affiliate, NAMI Mid-Hudson, and that will be over Zoom as well. These are just some of the other programs that we have. And this center area is just a screenshot from our website, just to give you a little overview of some of the programs. Top left, you'll see Ending the Silence. That's the program that I mentioned that goes into middle schools and high schools to teach young people about mental health. And we also have complementary programs that we do, Ending the Silence for parents and Ending the Silence for school staff, so that the school staff, the people who work directly with young people, can understand those warning signs, know what to look out for, and parents too. In Our Own Voice is a presentation program by 2 people living in recovery with mental health conditions who share their personal journey. And that's really powerful, especially for people who might be on the younger side and being diagnosed, and for parents of someone who has a recent diagnosis, to listen to their personal stories and hear that there is hope for recovery, and there are plenty of resources out there. And being diagnosed with a mental health condition means you can still have a really good life. So that really provides a lot of hope. These are some of the other programs that we're running. In Our Own Voice and Ending the Silence I mentioned. NAMI FaithNet really plays into something else the commissioner mentioned about reaching out to faith-based organizations. Oftentimes, Leaders of houses of worship are the first people that people go to when they have a concern. So we realize that those faith leaders need to know what to do too. So that's something new that we're doing, that we're going to be reaching out to more and more of the leaders of houses of worship and educating people in that way. Mental health community presentations we've been doing for the past few months. That's a monthly presentation that I'm organizing over Zoom. We have one coming up June 8th for mental health in the LGBTQ community. We'll have one in July. July is Minority Mental Health Awareness Month, and we'll be having an interim voice presentation then. September, we'll be doing one on suicide prevention, October, domestic violence, and going forward. So all of that information will be found on our website. And in those presentations, it's called a community presentation because we bring in a local partner to do those presentations with us, so that those in the audience can see that there are plenty of resources, not just NAMI, but that we play in a sandbox. We play with, we work with lots of other organizations, and they have a lot to offer. So we bring in a different organization each time. NAMI Homefront is a program for veterans and military families, also based on the NAMI Family to Family program I mentioned earlier. This is being run online right now. It's self-paced. You just call us to register, and then you can do it this way. But we are having people trained to be facilitators in this program, so we will be able to run it locally soon. Frontline Wellness is a brand new program, and NAMI New York City was one of the pilot programs to run it in the past year. And this is something that has really come out of COVID to help people who are frontline professionals, because NAMI realized that so many people are working in the healthcare industry, and first responders see a lot of trauma and don't know how to deal with that. So this is a new way, a new program that NAMI National has come out with, and we expect to be offering this in the near future as well. This is just a screenshot of our website, so you can just take a look, poke around, and find some information. But of course, always you can call us. At the bottom of the screen, you'll see every page on our website gives you the number that the commissioner had in one of his slides, which is the Westchester Crisis Prevention and Response Team. And there's the text number as well. May is Mental Health Awareness Month. So if you're around Westchester County, you may have seen banners or ribbons around the county. This past Saturday, the Governor Mario Cuomo Bridge was lit green for Mental Health Awareness Month. So there are lots of signs, and the best part of that is it's a good conversation starter. So it's a great time to bring up the fact, oh, I saw that ribbon, I saw that banner, I saw the bridge. That reminds me about mental health. How are you doing today? Maybe call someone that you haven't spoken to a while. Maybe look up a couple of resources so you have them in your back pocket. There are always volunteer opportunities in every NAMI affiliate. We always need program presenters, people who are living with mental health conditions or family members. There are volunteers in our programs, so we always need them. We've been getting lots of calls from schools in the past year to present. So the more people we have to volunteer, the more we can do. We need support group facilitators. We're looking to round out our board. We have a few seats opening up from term limits at the end of June. So if anyone is interested, you're welcome to call us. We advocate for legislation. We have a walk committee, and awareness ambassadors just help us get the message out and work with others. And that's kind of who we are and what we do for NAMI, and our phone number and website. So I hope give you a little inkling of what we're all about, and happy to answer any questions and work with you all here. So thanks very much.
Thank you so much, Marie. That was super informative. I learned a lot. I hope everyone else did as well. And so lastly, we're going to turn it over to Dr. Jane Bedell from the New York City Department of Health and Mental Hygiene. And then we'll open it up to questions from anyone after she speaks. So Dr. Jane.
Great. Just checking. The sound's working okay. All technical things okay. I'm going to see if I can share my screen. Yeah, I think I can. Let's just see. to talk a little bit about COVID. As has been said, mental health and physical health, we're all one human being here. So we're all going to survive and thrive much better if we can see the interconnections. And just picking up on some of the themes that have already been mentioned, sometimes just as things are getting better when a community, and in this case, the community is the entire world, but our community, the United States, and more locally, Westchester County, Bronx County, for this forum, just as things are starting to get better and there's a light at the end of the tunnel, is actually when people sometimes have some of the most difficulty psychologically. We're all going to have to shift and change from the behaviors that were keeping us alive and got us to this point successfully. And there are changes happening every day, every week in terms of our behaviors. When I go out, do I need 1 mask, 2 masks? Wait a minute, I've been vaccinated. What do I do? I've got to check to do the most elementary things like go outside and go shopping or walk my dog or whatever. So this is going to be a very turbulent time, and it's an important time. It's an important time for people to seek out these resources that have been mentioned. I'll just mention in the New York City world, the kind of analogous resources are the city resource is the phone number 1-888 NYC Well, 1-888 NYC Well, or text the word well to 65173. Text the word well to 65173. So that kind of gets people started for resources that they may not have in their own network. But a lot of people have a lot of resources in their own network. So I always encourage people as a primary care doctor myself, think about who you can go to for help, and also think about who you can help. This is going to be a time period where we need to be reaching out to each other and checking in with each other, because like I said, the studies that have looked at how communities recover from disasters is that just when the things are turning is sometimes for some people when it gets most difficult. So I just want to take a look at the data here on COVID. This was the terrible rise. This is New York City data, but it's parallel for New York State, Westchester County, Bronx County. And this was March and April. This was the world in shock. This was, emergency rooms overloaded, almost running out of ICU beds and respirators, et cetera. Then New York City and New York State followed the advice, and we saw a tremendous decline in the cases. Then through the summer months when we knew there was going to be a lull, and then as predicted, a second wave. And we are now coming down off this second wave. What's driving this down? This is being driven down by the vaccine. So that's the key thing that I want to talk about here. And I'm most interested really in taking people's questions. And I'm also curious for the other panelists, if there are questions that are coming up about the vaccine, where we could have somewhat of an exchange. I think that would be valuable also, because you are with maybe a different audience than I am at the City Department of Health. And my mantra through this time period with the vaccine is that every person, I'm thinking of my city and my state, every New Yorker deserves to have all of their questions answered, all of them, no matter where the questions came from, no matter what we think about the questions. That's a great question. That's a woo, I haven't heard that question, whatever it is. We all deserve to have our questions answered. And that is how we're going to help people access the vaccine. And that's how we're going to get this line to go further down. So the vaccine is safe. That's really been well proven now. I just looked up the current data. We're almost at 8 million vaccinations given in New York City, almost there. Some people, of course, two shots. We're at about 60% of adults having gotten at least one dose, so that's fantastic. Westchester, 71%, so come on, Bronx, we got to get in there and do our part. And that is what's driving down the cases, the deaths, the hospitalizations, et cetera. And we want to get this pandemic down even lower than it was last summer. So there's lots to talk about, lots of questions. I want to leave it there. I think most people know how to get a vaccine. You really just have to put something into a search engine that says, how can I get a vaccine around here? And you will get the information. The more important thing is that people feel that the vaccine's for them, and it's going to help them, and it's going to help New York, because this is how we're all going to get out of the pandemic, not just me for myself, but me for everybody. And I'll just, say when my family got vaccinated, there was a giant sigh of relief around here, because I had cancer 3 years ago, a terrible cancer, and everybody was really worried about me and COVID. So my family was doing it for themselves, but they were also doing it to help a family member. I'm deeply appreciative for that. So we're all in this together, and we're all going to get out of it together. So I won't do any more slides, but just leave it open for questions, and somebody will moderate the questions, I presume. So thank you. Happy to be here.
Thank you so much for joining us and for that information. And we just dropped in the chat a link to register for a vaccine if you would like to register, and a phone number to call in New York to do that as well. And so of course, feel free to call our office, and we put the information in the chat. So now I'm going to open it up. We have about 18 attendees with us. So if you would like to raise your hand, I can unmute you to ask a question, or if you want to drop it in the chat, now's the time to do so as well. So I'll just mute myself for a little bit and give anyone the floor to ask a question. Okay, and let me allow, and is your name, is it Xmina? I don't want to butcher your name, but introduce yourself and ask your question.
Yes, hi, it's Jimena Francella. I'm looking for resources for Spanish speaking and also Mandarin speaking therapists. Both communities have been highly impacted in regard to COVID, and also, women in the workforce who have young children are very much in need of counseling. Can you please give us some resources in Westchester for counseling services for these communities?
Hi, thank you for that question. This is Michael from Westchester. We do have a directory of linguistic, cultural therapists and clinical providers. I can leave my email in the chat or phone number, and definitely happy to follow up and let you know what's available. I know we also, there's the traditional mental health clinics and services, but we also try to connect with other community, racially, culturally, and linguistic competent services that help to also engage various communities. So that's something that perhaps we can help you with as well. So I'll definitely leave my information, and look forward to connecting either phone or email if that's helpful.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I can just add that, as I mentioned, if there's a program that NAMI Westchester doesn't have, we do work very closely with other NAMI affiliates, and NAMI Rockland right now is offering the family to family program in Spanish. So if that's something that you might be interested in, you can contact me and I can put you in touch with them.
Thank you.
And actually, a number of our programs are being translated now into Mandarin. So that will be forthcoming, probably not until January, but it'll be coming. And we can also help you find a therapist if you call our helpline.
Yeah, if you're in New York City, this 888 NYC Well number will get you to somebody who connects you, and we have lots of resources in Mandarin and Spanish. So for New York City residents, there is availability.
Okay, thank you so much, all. Does anyone else have a question at this time?
I just want to add what the doctor had said about how we engage individuals, young people, adults who may be somewhat resistant or cautious about the vaccine. I know it may be happening in New York City also. We just recently in Westchester started setting up school-based vaccine clinics as well, where young people can get the vaccine. I know earlier on we did some surveys and focus group with young people, and they felt like some of the advertisements or commercials were not geared to more of a youth-friendly audience. So I think we've seen an increase in public service announcements and educational opportunities that are more directed to populations like young people. And in general, as the doctor said, sometimes there's just a lack of information. Sometimes there's real anxiety because of some historical issues and concerns and medical issues. And then some people who do struggle with mental health issues, there may be some anxiety or hesitation. And the goal is really to engage them and really try to support them in getting the vaccine if comfortable. And sometimes that does take a little extra outreach, working with a care manager or peer advocate to help them to make a decision that they're comfortable in doing.
Yeah, that's a great point, that we've directed, of course, initially all of the attention to older people and people with underlying medical conditions like me. And that's actually why that curve is going down so dramatically, because we've been, I don't want to say 100% successful, but we've been largely successful at that risk group. But now we have to pay attention to the other risk groups, and young people, getting young people vaccinated is going to be super important. So one thing I want to say to anybody looking at this webinar or on it right this moment is, if you've been vaccinated, let other people know in your social network, however you communicate with people, because maybe somebody will take in the information that I'm giving. Oh, you're a doctor, you did primary care and public health, great, I'm going with that. But maybe you can be the person in somebody else's life. You can be the person in someone else's life, and they say, oh, that person got vaccinated? Oh, okay, I'm going to talk to them. I'm going to get my questions answered, or I'm going to follow them and do that. So I think that we all have a responsibility to let each other know what we're doing and sharing that and role modeling for people, particularly now that we're in a younger age group, about getting the vaccine. So if you've been vaccinated, share it however you share, social media, whatever that is, or just talking to people, because I think that's an important part of how we communicate in our own communities and networks.
Thank you. And then we have one more question, so I'll read this one out. So Rosemary is asking, what is the best way to deal with the brain fog and exhaustion that resulted as a part of the reaction that happened with the second vaccine shot? It looks like she took the Pfizer one. And was there a wide percentage reaction as part of the symptoms of COVID, in addition to the chills, exhaustion, bone aches, and flu-like symptoms?
Yeah, great question. So there are side effects to the vaccine. They are pretty well known now because we've had, over 100 million vaccines in the United States alone, and there were tens of thousands, 70,000 people in the initial early use of the vaccine. So we're all very thankful to those folks. So we know that for some people, and in this situation, being older is a little bit of an advantage because this happens less with older people. But people can have a reaction to the second vaccine. And typically it lasts for less than a day if you get it at all. So the main thing that people are reporting that helps them with all of the side effects of the vaccine, honestly, is to take a break from all of your normal activity and to get the most rest that you can. People often report that they were feeling crummy if they're one of the people who got the side effects, and they went to bed early, and when they woke up, they were fine. So that's not the answer for everybody, but it really is, your body is doing a whole lot of extra work in terms of incorporating the vaccine and getting your immune system revved up in case you meet the real COVID. And that takes energy, it's draining. So give yourself some chance to rest, to let somebody else do those other activities of daily living that you normally would do, and just pay attention to that. If something happens that lingers longer than a day or two or three, that's a good reason to go seek some other resource, mental health resource, or your primary care doctor, whoever's your first go-to person, because maybe there's more going on there. So it's normal to have side effects for a day or 2 or 3. After that, that's a real reason to seek some other resources and help. So I hope that's helpful.
Okay, thank you so much. So it looks like those are all of the questions for now. I don't see any more in the chat box or in our question A box either, but of course, for anyone that's on the call now, please feel free to give our office a call at 202-225-2464, and we can connect you with any of our partners on today. Their information is also in the chat box, so feel free to go in there and copy paste their information if you are able to do so. And then if not, our office, of course, can connect you with them if you give us a call. But I just wanted to thank everyone for joining us today for all this information. This will be recorded and posted on the Congressman's YouTube page and his Facebook page as well. So if you ever want to tune back in or just re-listen to anything that you heard today, you will be able to do so. Hopefully by tomorrow morning, it will be up on his YouTube and on his Facebook page. But thank you, Dr. Bedell, Marie, Michael, thank you all so much for joining us. I hope you have a good rest of your day, and thank you for working with us today.
Thank
Thanks
you.
so much.
Thank you.
Thank
Great
you.
job.
Thank you.
Okay.